There we go. All right, what's going on, guys? It's Logan. It's EJ. Welcome back to SwampCast, man. Um, EJ's feeling good because he's about to go watch some Florida Gator basketball, man. He's about to go see some winning Gators, baby. The 2025 national champions. We face Illinois. We'll get into that in a bit. I believe it's Illinois, right?
Arizona.
Arizona. And no, we play Illinois. That was the exposition game we played recently, right?
Wait, what was that?
We played Illinois. That was the exhibition game that we played, right?
Yeah, that was it was
Gotcha.
uh a scrimmage.
Scrimmage. Okay.
Yeah, secret
Gotcha.
scrimmage.
Yes, sir. We got that dub too by was like 11 points. So we're gonna see what happens here against Arizona, man. We'll get into that a bit, and EJ will talk about that at the very end of the show. But we're about to start off talking about this. Let's just not waste any time, EJ. Let's just get into it. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Gators take the L to the Georgia Bulldogs, 24-20. In an absolute dogfight, no pun intended, man. Billy Gonzalez, first game as a head coach, and the first game that the Gators have not had Billy Napier as a head coach in 4 years. Just an insane game from beginning to the end. I usually go on like a 5-minute rant to start it out. EJ, I'm going to let you go on the 5-minute rant. Let's hear your thoughts on the game, man. We'll obviously get into all the specifics, but just drop everything. It was a catch, but it's fine. Go ahead, EJ.
Uh it's the story of our lives, when we played Georgia. But I have to say it was a beautiful day in California. Look, the weather was great, looks like in Jacksonville as well. Beautiful day. We didn't have to worry about rain and hurricanes and all that. Looked like a great um just a great Saturday, day after Halloween. Um, I used to love when this game was actually on Halloween. Those are the best. Those are the best. But anyway, uh our prediction I think was 34-20, 35-20, right? And if Georgia doesn't take a knee there at the end, at the goal line, the score would have been 31-20. So we picked our score exactly. And Georgia, I think at the end of the day, what we've learned, what this game taught me, I kind of knew, but it solidified it. What's really going to distinguish these programs over the next 5 to 10 years is going to be coaching. How good a coach do you have? Why? Because guys, the previous 20 years, it was all about how much talent you have, right? Can you hoard all the talent from recruiting? But now that you got the transfer portal and NIL and bidding wars, it evens out the talent pool across these teams. And what it's gonna come down to is who's got the better coach that puts your talent in the best position to win against your schedule. And what we saw is Billy Napier has built some talent at Florida. He's brought in talent that's capable of winning pretty much any game on the schedule, right? But what we've also had is just boneheaded coaching, ill prepared on Saturday to outcoach and outposition your team on the field every Saturday. This was a game that showed me that with some teamwork, putting some smart coaching minds together, even though Kirby Smart and his program has 10-year head start on head coaching experience than Billy G, with the talent we had, we were right there. And if that's the fifth best team in the country, Georgia probably, to be honest with you, they could probably beat anybody out there. Um, Yet again, we have the lead halfway late through the fourth quarter, but it still just did not feel. And I would love to get your thought on this. We had the lead 20 to 20. Was it 20 to 17? 20 to 17. 7:54 to go, and it's 4th and 1, and I'm thinking, I just don't get the feeling we're gonna win this game. Like for some crazy reason, I just still did not feel we were gonna win the game. And we got to get to the point where we are going to win this game. You know what I mean? And if I felt that, I was wondering, like, did our players feel that? Did the coaches feel that? Did that play into us not being able to put our cleats in the ground and just get that 4th and 1?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can talk a little bit about that 4th and 1, but at the end of the day, we were right there and we still couldn't get it done. The bottom line is what we've seen the last 10 years is Georgia is going to get all the calls, right? I saw this picture the other day. We probably could show it if I send it to you. I think it was about 6, 7, 8 years ago. Georgia had a huge catch that the ball hit the ground, but they called it a catch.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, in a 50-50 situation, it's incomplete. That's the difference between 2-0 and 0-2. Those two calls, or 1-1. Like, we get one of the two calls, maybe, but Georgia's a team that's, coached by Kirby Smart. They're, if they lose, they're out of the playoffs. We're not, even if we win, we're not in the playoffs. So it's kind of like, just give it to Georgia, is kind of how I feel the refs kind of took this game. But overall, we've got the talent. I was proud that the team put everything out there on the field. The injuries started to mount up. Dallas Wilson hurt again, so he's out. So half the receiving core is injured. And we can go, offense and defense, and we'll get in a little bit more detail. But overall, great game to watch. We had a chance. Billy G, hey, I was thinking to myself, if Billy G wins this and then wins out, why the hell can't we hire him?
Yeah. No, all the players are already wearing the shirts that say "Play for the Patch" and everything. They're buying into Billy G. Like, that's one thing we have to look at. Like, especially after you fire a head coach that had that much influence over a program and that much influence over the culture. The fact that Billy G is already making an impact on these guys really says something about his character and about his organization running the program behind the scenes. And he talked about how Billy Napier did a really good job kind of having a good structure there, and I think Billy Napier definitely did. But that I think that's just a testament to Billy Gonzalez and his character. So I thought that was really cool to see kind of Sapp come to the press conference after the game wearing that shirt and talk about it. I thought that was very cool. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned earlier, EJ, about how it was that 4th-and-1, and even before we ran the play or even ran out the guys to go for it, you had that feeling that it's just not going to go your way. And the first thing I thought, I don't know if you've ever seen Stranger Things, but I think it's season 2 or season 3, it's the Mind Flayer that's hovering over Hawkins, Indiana. That's Billy Napier hovering over this Florida Gator team, being like, hey, guys, run this play. Do that. You know what I mean? And we're like, no, stop. Just go away. It's like Freddy Krueger, always in our nightmares. But no, I think we'll get to that 4th down. I do want to say this as we're on Billy Gonzalez right now. I just want to say he did a phenomenal job coaching this game. I thought Coach Ryan O'Hara, the play caller, did a great job play calling this game. I feel like this is the first game in 4 years where there was 1 or 2 times where I wouldn't do that. But everything made sense. And we'll talk about EJ. We spread the ball out. There was no more this. That's gone. He wasn't doing this anymore. I was like, oh my God, that was a Billy Napier thing. Because it doesn't do a single thing. I've never seen DJ Lagway do this and it lead to a successful play. We were spreading the ball out right away, man. You saw DJ Lagway, I feel like, more comfortable as well in the spread offense throughout this game. There was a lot of things to look at and be happy about, even though, our offensive play caller was a play caller at Alabama A&M, and that got fired there. It looked like he did a better job calling plays than Billy Napier, which is actually unbelievable, which shows how much talent there is on this football team. So EJ, let's go ahead and get into this offense for the Florida Gators. I feel like I said, the first drive that I sat there and watched, a big old grin. I was like the Grinch, you know what I mean? The slow motion grin. I was so happy, because we were actually spreading the ball out. Trey Wilson, we're getting him down the field finally, not just doing bubble screens. I think that we only did 1 bubble screen on a 3rd down this game. And it was like a 3rd down and like 20, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, I totally understand that. It's not a 3rd down and 9 or something. We're doing a bubble screen. That's a manageable, conversion you can do there. And And so I really liked seeing that, not bubble screens every play. We're getting Trey Wilson down the field. We're getting these playmakers down the field, and we did this like what you said, EJ, without three of our main receivers and three of our most talented receivers in my opinion, Aiden Mizell, VB3, and of course Dallas Wilson. So I was very, very happy with how we got these playmakers in space, got them down the field, and actually we did cover beaters. We had actual cover beaters. It's not just guys, doing quick hitches and whatever, and just crossers with no post or whatever it is. There was actual cover beaters that we made these safeties make decisions, which is why there was open guys a lot during this game. And I'm going to get into DJ Lagway's performance. I thought DJ Lagway did a good job at times, but he also played really, really bad at other points. There was multiple guys open down the field. Fourth down conversion that he could have hit. TJ Abrams on that corner route that he just did not see. He just made the pre-snap decision to throw to Trey Wilson. And that's my big issue with DJ Lagway, EJ, is the fact that he has not a clutch bone in his body at all. At all. I think people dogging him for the Sturdivant throw is kind of insane. That's a 50-yard pass going against his body. I mean, come on, dude. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, Joe Milton, obviously phenomenal arm, right? And he used to be at Tennessee, went to the NFL. His arm, he throws like an 80-yard ball all the time. It's actually ridiculous, and everyone just doesn't even bat an eye to it. Even he couldn't throw a 50-yard pass against your body, running full speed to the left. Come on, guys. You can't expect DJ to make that throw like that, that deep, especially in that position. Considering also he's probably worn out a little bit. He ran a lot in this game, which is a whole nother conversation we got to get to, EJ. Because how the hell was DJ Lagway injured? Because I don't know if you remember a couple weeks ago, Billy Napier was talking about the reason we're not spreading out the field and we're doing this to do a bunch formation is because DJ Lagway doesn't have the ability to run. Well, we saw DJ Lagway use his legs a lot in this game in a phenomenal way and get a 3rd down and 20 with a QB draw. And I don't know about you, EJ. That's the most explosive I've ever seen DJ. He looked like Richardson out there. He just put his foot down and went. And it shocked me. I didn't know DJ Lagway was even capable of that. So that right there shows that it's Billy Napier lying to us once again. We got some stuff in the chat. Kenny says,
Kenny's here.
Yeah, what's going on? If we have the depth with all the injuries, we're still competitive. We're still competitive. No, 100%, man. And that's another thing too, right? This is the last thing I'll talk on before my rant's over, EJ, because I know you probably want to expand on a few of those things. We like defensively, right? We obviously struggled a little bit in the past game, you know what I mean? Gunnar Stockton was kind of dotting us up at some points, but the run game was a big issue coming in this game. We were worried, and it's exactly what we expected. We'll get into that in a bit, obviously, when we get to the defense. But they saw the 6-man box and ran on it multiple times, EJ, and it was a problem. It's funny, my defensive key in this game was hold UGA to 3.4 yards a carry. They had 3.5. Which is horrible. And that's the reason I didn't say 3.5, because I knew if they had 3.5, that means they probably had a few explosives, and guess what? They did. And we'll get into all that in a bit, because I literally predicted it dead on. It's kind of insane. But yeah, if we had Caleb Banks in there, like EJ was talking about, I think we're in a much better position. And obviously we didn't, and so they were really able to toy around with us on that line of scrimmage on that front. EJ, I'll stop right there. There's a lot of other things I can get to, but I don't know if there's anything you want to expand on there.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, we got Kenny in the chat. Hope, love to see him. Yeah, when you look at this, our offense versus their defense, there was a few themes in the game. Number one, the positives. Eugene Wilson had the opportunity to step up, because obviously Mizell, Brown, and then Wilson going out in the first quarter, I think. 9 catches, 121 yards. Are you kidding me? And they were throwing him the ball down the field too. It's not like, bubble screen, shovel pass, or whatever, he did when Billy Napier was there, gadget. It was, no, you're a wide receiver, run your ass down the field. We're going to throw you the ball and make a play. And he did that. I also looked at this stat, which is absolutely insane. It was tied 10-10 at halftime. Georgia ran 42 plays in the first half. Florida ran 22. They ran 20 more. Think about that. Just say, okay, give us the ball, untimed down. We run 20 more plays. Like, and it's a tie game. Um, that just goes back to the stat that we talked about earlier is Georgia controls time of possession. They did the same thing in this game. They controlled time of possession. We were not able to convert any third downs in the first half, which led to that disparity. I think we're 0 for 5 on third down. We converted 2 in the second half, but you cannot be. But we're the worst. I think we're the worst team in the SEC on third down on offense. And it's not like this game had a lot of 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. A lot of them were 3rd and short, 3rd and 4 or less. And, um, you know, um, a guy that I watched the game with in San Diego, he was like, when it's 3rd and 6 or less, I'm like freaking out, like, we're definitely not getting this. But if it's 3rd and 10, I'm like, it's 50-50. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, it literally is 50-50. Um, a couple other things in the game. So we talked about third down. We talked about run game. What was your key? Because for our rushing attack, I think you said we needed to do 4 yards a carry.
It was 4.9 yards a carry, and we got 4.8. I was 0.1 off on both my offensive and defensive keys. That's insane.
Well, and then to your point, though, there were a couple of drives we had the ball where we were running it effectively, but then like we just sort of went back to the pass. And I get you kind of have to mix it up a little bit, but if you notice when we took the 10-7 lead on Georgia, they had one drive where they were like, it was right after Stockton threw the interception that was sort of deflected and then picked off by Devin Moore. Kirby Smart was like, run the ball. And it took advantage of that. We only had 6 guys in the box as we're playing. Ron Roberts plays balance. So he's like, Georgia's a 50-50 run pass team. We got to set our defense up like that, because every play that's a run, the next play is going to be a pass. So let's just set up. And I think he did a really good job. But Georgia's able to run the ball a little bit more effectively, something that we should have also done in the game. And then, lastly, I'll put red zone efficiency. We scored when we got there, except for the last drive, but we kicked too many field goals. You have to score touchdowns. And the last thing I'll say on the coaching offensive adjustments, it just go back to the 4th and 1 at the 18-yard line. It's like 7:54 to go, and we're all thinking to ourselves, "Oh shit! If we get this, we might win the game, and it would be freaking amazing." I go back and I look at the play, and right before the ball snapped. And this is why Kirby Smart is one of the better coaches in college. And to me, it's kind of like, I don't understand why someone can't just out coach him, because it's not like what they do is substantially like eye popping, like, genius. So Kirby Smart says, okay, 9 out of 10, they're going to run the ball up the middle, Jaden Ball. They pinch the defense. They pinch for, the A and B gaps. We're going to close those, and we're going to defend the run up the middle.
Right before the snap, which was genius.
Right before the snap. And then the linebackers hovered down to even cover the gaps even more. And so then I'm thinking to myself, okay, do we not have an audible? Do we not have a timeout? Do we not have something? Even though you can use that timeout when you're in the lead. We were winning the game 20-17. Use the timeout, figure out an adjustment to that formation, because we're averaging less yards per carry. This is not like the Mississippi State game. We're averaging 7 yards a carry, So make the adjustment. Conversely, when Georgia stopped us and they got the ball back, they went down and scored, but we we they were in a similar situation. I think they had the ball 24-20 after we didn't convert it on fourth down, which we'll talk about. But it was 3rd and 1, and I'm thinking to myself, I think it was like 2 minutes to go in the game. Okay, if we stop them here and they kick a field goal, we still have a chance. And what happens? Kirby Smart calls the timeout and says, we actually need to convert this, because he saw that our defense was going to stop, pinch. And then what do they do out of the timeout? Play action, roll around. And he could have ran into the end zone for an easy touchdown, but another genius coaching move. You run into the end zone and make it 31-20. All the bet people are happy because they cover, right? And that's why on Twitter, everyone was like, why did he run in? I picked Georgia to cover. But he took a knee. When you take a knee and we have one timeout, the game's over. But you run it in the end zone with like 1:13 to go, there's still a glimmer of hope. It's not a 0% chance that Florida loses or wins. So genius coaching again by Kirby Smart. We got out coached a little bit in this game. I haven't talked about the refs yet, but that's my take there.
Yeah, we could just dive into. We'll get to the We'll take it to the fumble. We'll get to the catch in a minute. Let's talk about that 4th and 1 though. I agree. I mean, me and EJ were talking about. I was like, I love the decision to go for it. Why should you go for it? Because you have control of the game. I knew that our defense played good in this game, but our defense also let them get into our territory probably 4 times, and they didn't score anything. It was kind of ridiculous. We just started to really lock down once they got into our territory. So I knew a touchdown was going to be coming. I knew our defense was going to let up something here soon. It was bound to happen. We got lucky a few times with us getting to Gunnar Stockton before we saw the open guys. A couple bad throws by Gunnar Stockton, a couple drop passes. I knew that it was going to come back and bite us in the ass. So I thought we did a really good job going for it there. I think, especially if you get it, you probably have over 95% chance to win that game for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, it skyrockets. So I think it was the right EV decision to go for it. Now the play call itself, I don't mind, but once the shift happens, because before the shift, dude, that was an easy first down. There was a huge gap right up the middle.
Yeah, there was a huge gap.
Huge. And then right before, DJ does his little clap, they go in and they shift toward the middle of it, like you said. The linebackers come up, CJ Allen goes forward, and they stuff it. I totally agree. I don't know whose fault that is. I don't know. I'm assuming I've seen DJ do it before. Billy Napier's talked about it in the past, where DJ has the ability to check in and out of plays and do whatever and call timeouts. So I think DJ Lagway, once again, his clutch gene is just not there, and he just wasn't thinking in that moment, and allowed them to or just didn't check out of the play. But at the same time, it also falls on Ryan O'Hara. You're the offensive coordinator now, man. If you see that something's wrong, call it into Billy Gonzalez so he can call the timeout. I just think also too, the big problem is they shifted maybe a second before we clapped, and so there wasn't a lot of time either. You know what I mean? They did it really last second. That was a smart move there defensively by Glenn and Kirby Smart. But you still as a quarterback, you have to see that call a timeout and check out of it.
Well, so let's talk about that, because this was the game defining play. Even though the catch, we'll talk about the catch, but there was the girl next to me was like, kick the field goal, and so I was thinking to myself, well, I mean, I would go for it, but why would you kick the field goal? And so she had a good point. She was kind of like, okay, if you kick the field goal right here, well, first of all, she was like, no, fake like you're gonna go for it and see if they'll go off sides. Then you kick the field goal, because it's still like a 35-yard field goal. And then she's like, if you make the field, you have a chance for them to go off sides, so you get the first down by default. Or you kick the field goal and you go up by 6. And so her theory was, if you go up by 6 with like 7 minutes left, you know that Georgia has to score a touchdown. And so you can set up a defense that's not on your heels. If you go for it and don't get it, Now you're kind of on your heels because all Georgia really has to do is get in field goal range, and they're gonna go killer instinct and try to score on a touchdown.
Mhm.
So to me, I was kind of like, I can I'd love to know what the outcome of the game would have been had we done that strategy. Like hike, and then like see if they jumped off sides, because our dumbass jumped off sides down
Yeah.
there. It
Yeah.
was 4th and 6 though.
Yeah.
Thank God it was like 3rd and 6, and
George bombs.
so I'm like, what the hell is wrong with us? But maybe we could have done that. I would have like, and then what you could have done is, okay, DJ, do clap, get them to jump off sides. If they don't jump off sides, call a timeout. and then we'll come up with another play.
I agree that's what I would have
What do
gone
you
for
think?
it. No, I agree. I would have gone for it no matter what. But I think getting them to jump off sides is the smart decision there. And yeah, you're not wasting a timeout. You're seeing how they're going to line up against that formation, and see if you like it or not. So I'm with you 100%. And no, my dad said the same thing. My dad was like, to kick the field goal, like you said, make them score a touchdown. My issue with that is, look, if it was 4th and 3, I'm going for a field goal. It's 4th and 1. If you get that, you're a yard away. Your running back's averaging 4.8 yards a carry. Your offensive line's been playing pretty well throughout the game. And also Georgia lost their best interior defensive lineman to an injury, that first drive. And so, yeah, I'm running it right at the backup. And I'm going my guys against your guy, and Jaden Ball, who doesn't ever get tackled, I'm doing that. So, and like I said, you could put the game away. It's in your hands. And so because of that, I'm going for it. Now,
Yeah.
if I was at the 45 or 40 yard line, no, if let's say I'm at the 36 yard line, right? You're looking at Trace Mack. Trace Mack, has an insane leg. But if I'm at there and it's a 4th and 3 once again, then no, I'm not gonna go for it. But come on, I think we were inside the 20 at that point. I believe we were in the red zone. If not, we were right outside of it.
We're at the 18
yard line. I mean, come on, dude. You have to go for it at that point. And I think running Jaden Ball is the smartest decision. But what I would have done is, I think that lady that you were saying that you were talking to, I think she had a great point. I am going up. I'm going to try to get them off sides. I'm seeing what formation they're in at being Ryan O'Hara, and then I'm calling a play based off of that and going back out there. It's going to be a run play. It's going to be Jaden Ball. But once it's a I'm probably going off tackle personally. I don't know if I'm going right up the middle. Jaden Ball has done really good on these outside runs on the outside of the tackle. That Georgia's going to be playing up the middle. That's probably what I would do. But once again, I love the decision to go for it there. I think you put the game away. I would love to see what happened if we, got the field goal, because Trace Mack hasn't missed a field goal since that opening game against LIU. But I don't know. I think you just have to go for it there. I think
Yeah,
you have control of the game.
but my thing is, just take a look at the last two critical. Mississippi State was 3rd and 1. Billy Napier is the play caller. Mississippi State's defense is spread out, and we're like, run it up the middle. We're averaging 7 yards a carry. And what does he do? He rolls the pocket, and we get sacked. No conversion. Have to punt. In this game, 4th and 1. They're stacking the line. I'm like, okay, run off tackle. What do we do? Run up the middle, get stuffed. It's kind of like, can we convert one of these crucial plays here? And it goes back to, I remember we played Ole Miss last year, and remember they had like the offensive tackle that they would, or defensive lineman, I think he was.
The big boy.
The big boy. They would give him the ball, and they were just like, bulldoze to get this freaking yard. And we stopped him a couple times. He got us a couple times. I think we stopped him twice. He got it twice. But I would just like to see if we're going to run it up the middle and we're committed to trying to get that yard, have a little bit more of a power set. Come in Gator heavy, put, 2 fullbacks, a tight end. Hell, you remember the guy from last year, the 400-pound guy, or, we probably have somebody like that. throw them out there as a fullback and say, "Freak, when we hike this ball, freaking clobber somebody. We don't
Oh,
even care," and
oh,
then jump.
no, I agree, like a little I form or something. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
That was my problem with that play call too. And we'll move on from this so we can get to everything else. But that I agree. I think it took way too long to develop as well. If you go back and watch that play, I mean, it's just Jaden Ball took forever in the backfield. I don't think it's his fault. I think it's the play design. It was just by the time he had the ball in his hands, no pun intended, they're already half of a yard into our offensive lineman pushing him back.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
the play
yeah.
was screwed right from the get go because it just took so long to develop. So yeah, I'm with you there. I don't know why we don't go under center there. Maybe let Jaden Ball get a nice run. You know what I mean? Let him
Tush
get some
push.
momentum. Something. But I totally agree. They had the box stack. Should have been under center play action. I don't know about play action. I'm probably handing it to Jaden Ball, but I don't. I'm calling a timeout
The,
though after they went to the middle and shifted.
yeah, and the issue with we just were down too many receivers. Like, and these aren't just receivers we're down; these are playmakers. Like guys that you can just throw the ball to and make a play. Otherwise, I would agree. Like, play action and see if you can hit a tight end rolling to the left or something like that. But man, just one freaking yard, guys.
It hurts. It definitely hurts. Let's get into the refs real quick and touch on these before we get into this Gator defense. The two big plays that were, some interesting calls. One was the fumble. Gunnar Stockton goes to throw the ball. I can't remember who hit him as he threw it. But do you know who did it?
No, I just remember it was like one of our linemen, I want to say.
I believe so. Might have been Burrow was back there all game, so he had a really good game himself. But yeah, Gunnar Stockton goes to throw the ball. He gets hit as he throws it. It's called a fumble on the field. And then they go to review it and say that no, his arm was moving forward. EJ, I know you said that you thought it was a fumble. Do you still believe that looking back on it?
By the letter of the rule, I think it's his arm is going forward, and you couldn't definitively say that the ball was loose prior to the arm going forward. Now, the reason why I'm saying it's a fumble is because when you look at what's actually happening on that play, he was getting sacked and he was like, "Oh shit." And the ball, you could tell he clutches the ball behind his arm, behind his hand to tuck it back in and take the sack. The ball just happens to fall out while his arm is going forward and he's clutching the ball back in. So if you go and you watch the play, it's not he's throwing it and then like the ball comes out and it's a clean forward pass motion. He's clutching the ball to bring it back in and the ball comes out. So to me, and that is why when you look at Gunnar Stockton's body language at when the play was called, he's on the sideline like, yeah, it's a fumble. Let's, defense D up. So he's thinking, oh, it's a fumble. So, but then they're coming back saying, well, his arm's moving forward. I think that the officials did the right thing to call it a fumble. And by the letter of the law, they reversed it saying that his arm is moving forward. The ball was not definitively moving prior, but he clutched the ball to try to bring it back in. And as his arm was moving forward, the ball came out and they're saying it was a pass. I will say this, though. One thing that I never get about these plays is if you're going to say it's an incomplete pass and not a fumble, why the hell isn't it grounding? Because I went back and looked. I tried to see if did we deflect the ball? Because if a defensive person deflects the ball, it can't be grounding. So I went back and I looked and I'm like, I don't think we touched it. And he throws the ball literally 2 yards across the line of scrimmage and it hits the ground. Who's the intended target? Who is he throwing to if it's an incomplete pass?
I think if you
It
get
should be
hit,
grounding.
I think if you get hit as you throw, then that's like automatically thrown out.
See, I thought that was the case too, but the rule says if the ball is deflected. So I don't know. So if he's hit while he's throwing the ball, I don't know. I've just seen it when I've seen plays where they're running and they throw it to they throw an incomplete pass to avoid getting sacked, and they call grounding.
Mhm.
But on this play, they didn't call grounding. I'm just like, okay, it's grounding if it's an incomplete pass because there's no intended receiver. So and the ball was not deflected. So I don't know. I just think we got hosed both times. So there you go.
That no, I mean there is a lot of reffing inconsistencies from league to league too. So yeah, that's interesting there. Kenny said that was the Castell Blitz. Then is that when Castell came in?
Oh, was that the Castell Blitz?
Dude, that reminded me of the Mississippi State game with oh my God, is it Steiner?
Steiner, yeah,
Steiner
I think it
came
was
in.
Steiner. Wow,
Yeah, bro came in, dude, to Mississippi State. Oh, that was amazing. That was very similar to that. Castell hit him. He did not have control of the ball. Yeah, I don't know. Listen. I'm not mad. That call doesn't bother me. Like that's like a whatever. It looked like a, I didn't see the ball moving until the arm started coming forward. But that's just me. That one didn't bother me too much. Go ahead.
I'll just say this though, because the middle 8, we were talking about this.
Yeah.
If that's a fumble and we run it back and we have it at the 40-yard line, we have a chance to run a couple plays and kick a field goal.
And that's -3 points for Georgia, right?
That's a absolute value of 6 points, because if you think about it, they were down by 3 and they kicked it to go in front or to tie the game. We could have run a few more plays, potentially gotten field goal range, and been up by 6. That's a huge difference when you look at how the game played out from the middle 8 standpoint, because Georgia scored another touchdown when to start the second half. So just saying.
No, I totally agree. Second one is the one everyone's talking about, the big catch at the end of the game by Michael Sturdivant. DJ Lagway rolls to the outside on a third down, throws an absolute bomb 50 yards down the field. We've seen this a couple of times. We've seen this a lot, actually, EJ. Even when Billy Napier was still here, where our guys have gotten behind the safeties on a lot of teams. That happened a couple of times in this game. DJ missed an early throw with one, and then actually saw this one down the field and connected, in my opinion. But rolls out to his left against his body, throws it 50 yards. People that are saying that he should have made the throw is insane. No one's going to make a throw like that unless you get lucky. Did a really good job getting the ball to him. I will say this: he had a wide open Jadam ball in the flat, which would have been a first down, and we would have converted on the 3rd and 4. That's besides the point. Literally had, dude. So I went back and rewatched it. There was no one 10 yards near Jadam ball. It would have been a first down easily for the Gators. But whatever. That's besides the point. He went for it all. I respect it. You see him open that deep. It was 100% a catch. Here's what I will say. You call it an incomplete pass. I don't think there's indisputable evidence to say it was a catch. I understand that call. It's very frustrating because I've seen this happen with a lot of other teams as well. I think that's a referee issue in the sense of you should call that a catch. And anytime there's a ball like that, you should call it a catch and then see if you can say it's not. Give some kind of benefit of the doubt right there to the team that's making the play. This is like a play in these types of games. It's going to come down to big moments, right? Big rivalry games like this, and this was the big moment of the game, and I think you have to, as a referee, have to let that play out. Very similar to what they did with the Gunnar Stockton fumble, right? They let it play out. They called it a fumble and went back and reversed it. So why didn't you do that with this play? That was the most frustrating thing. So I think, if you look at it from the stance of a, actual, I don't know, by the books type of call, it makes sense. But the ball, you saw both ends of the ball, right? Both tips of the ball. You saw it hit his forearm, left forearm, bounce to his right, bounce up to his chest. I thought it was a very easy call, but indisputable. I don't know. I once again don't have, in the moment, EJ, I was texting EJ, he could tell I was probably very pissed. But looking back on it, I understand why they did it personally. But it was 100% a catch.
this, Kenny put in the chat, Kirby's been owning the refs all year. I mean, you think about Georgia always getting the benefit of the doubt on these 50-50 calls. The fumble with Jackson Arnold at the goal line to go up 17 nothing. Oh, it's a fumble. And I'm like, look like the nose of the ball is clearly over while he's got possession. That saves Georgia. And in this game, the ref comes running in there. Well, one of them didn't signal anything. Then the other one was like, incomplete, incomplete. And I'm kind of like, okay, for you to rule something a catch or not a catch initially, what are you looking at? Are you making the call based off of just you have to make a call, so you're just signaling something? Or did you actually see the ball hit the ground? That is what I want to know. Because remember, 6, 7 years ago, I forgot the guy's name, number 16 from Georgia. The ball clearly is on the ground. There's a picture of the ball on the ground, and then they review it and say it's a catch. And on this one, you can't definitively say it hit the ground. Like, what angle is the ball on the ground other than you just assuming, given the angle, that it's on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that is what caused them to go back and revert to the call on the field, because you can't definitively tell with these angles if the ball did or did not touch the ground. When it initially happened, I thought that it was incomplete because
Mm-hmm.
it looked like it had bounced. And maybe that's what the officials saw. And so he's running in there saying incomplete. But when you go back and look at the replay, his arms are underneath the ball. So I'm kind of like, well, how does it touch the ground if his arm is underneath it? So, at the end of the day, to your point, I think DJ, there were several plays in this game that, man, even though this was an impossible throw, he's running to his left, he's right-handed, he's throwing off his back foot 60 yards or how many were down the field. One more yard and maybe it's close enough for him to catch it. There were about four other passes in this game that DJ was a hair late. Just he was just late throwing. You got to throw these passes. The best quarterback that we've had, or the best quarterback that we've had the last 10 years, this was actually 10 years ago, for crying out loud, that threw the ball on the break of the receiver's break and was so perfect on time, was Will Greer. If you go back to that 2015, those first four games before he got suspended for taking creatine at GNC, um, he was incredible. Like, you were not stopping that offense if he was able to play. Like the Ole Miss game, every pass he saw exactly who was open. He threw it on time, on target. The second guy was Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask, I think, um, he had the benefit of the doubt because he had elite receivers that he was throwing to, that could get open and he could sort of anticipate and get the ball out on time. But man, Will Greer was incredible. DJ Lagway is just a step behind that level of quarterback where he sees the open receiver and he throws it on time. And then by the time he throws it, it's like being deflected by the defense or intercepted. Thank goodness none of these passes were intercepted. There was one pass that went straight. He threw it so late, it went straight to a Georgia defender. And Georgia, thankfully, did not intercept the ball. The guy dropped the ball. Um, but and then there were a couple other plays where his initial read isn't open. He throws it late. But if you're going to throw it late, look at your check down. And he had multiple check downs that were open throughout the game that he missed. All in all, he had a decent game. But if you get elite Heisman level quarterback play from DJ Lagway, which is what we thought we were going to get coming into the year, which is why we predicted to beat Georgia in the preseason, you beat this Georgia team. You win this game. But because we just had three or four plays, throw the ball a little bit too late, you don't throw it on the break, the defense has time to get in position, you can't get the job done. So that's what I got to say about that.
Yeah, we'll just touch on this defense in a second, and there's really not too much to go off of there. We've kind of talked about it a little bit, just so we can get to the Kentucky game and everything. But I just want to touch on DJ while you're on him. He's I don't know. I'm losing hope. I like personally. I'm not saying a lot of people are saying we need to throw in Trammell. I don't think so at all. He's a true freshman. I don't think we need to throw him into the fire like that. But DJ Lagway, I totally agree. He is so late to these reads. Not only that. He cannot read the field really at all as it is. He rolls into pressure. He has no pocket presence. He runs out of a clean pocket multiple times and puts himself usually into the short side of the field and puts himself in a bad position. There's multiple times in this game where all he had to do was step up and he has a wide open guy down I'm telling you right now, the route trees in this game, it was pretty, man. It was gorgeous. And I know DJ's not used to that these past 2 years, but man, all he had to do was just step up into the pocket, and he kept rolling out, and then the route tree just breaks down and breaks apart, and you have guys trying to improv all over the field. And that was a real problem, EJ. So DJ Lagway, like, I was not impressed at all with this performance. He had a few good plays early on to Trey Wilson, a few good balls, but that's what he does. He has a few really good moments, and then he just has no clutch gene in his body at all. Like I said, he missed 2 passes to TJ Abrams in this game. Wide open one toward the beginning of the game, I believe, like second quarter, and then you have the 4th down at the very end of the game. It was just a nice out route, wide open. No one was there, and throws it to Trey Wilson when the guys just draped over him. So DJ Lagway, man, I like I said, I'm personally probably fully out now. I don't think he's really ever gonna reach what we thought he'd reach. I understand he didn't have any, off-season prep. Like, I understand that, but when are we gonna move on from that and just admit that he's just not as good as we thought? Like, I feel like we're getting to that point now. Personally, I'm already there. I'm and it sucks because he's such a talented guy. But I'm just I'm fully out on the DJ hype train personally. He just, like I say, he's not the reason we lost this game, but he's definitely a big factor. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, the 2 best quarterbacks in the SEC coming into the season were Lenora Sellers and DJ Lagway, and ironically, these are 2 of the bottom quarterbacks in the league right now. If you're talking about just sheer playmaking, I will say this though, I don't think DJ has benefited from, obviously he didn't practice a lot, real time reps in the offseason. But from a quarterback coaching standpoint, it's kind of like, who the hell is this coach? Was it Billy Napier, since he's calling the plays? It's Ryan O'Hara. Who is the quarterback coach? You give DJ Lagway to a really good developer of talent like a Lane
Lincoln Riley.
Kiffin, Lincoln Riley, even a Dan Mullen. Um, I think potentially all of the fundamentals and the mechanics and the ability to scan the field, maybe that improves. But a lot of people say that DJ Lagway has regressed, and I'll just comment what I always comment. I don't believe in regression. I don't believe players get worse. I just believe your competition gets better than you faster. And, so like if I were in a spelling bee and I came in first place, and then I'm like, oh, I didn't really even study. And then the next year I don't study, and then I come in 8th place. It's not because I became a worse speller. It's because people studied me. They figured out how to become better than me, and they beat me the next year because I decided to take the year off because I thought I was top shit. Same thing in this case. People watched the film on DJ Lagway last year. The defense is completely set up. 10 guys in the box. We're stopping the run. We're going to force you to make the right decision. And he has not added that element onto his game to where he can do that and then throw the ball on time, on target. And it's cost us some opportunities, even though he's a tremendous talent.
Yeah, very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. All right, let's just talk about this defense a little bit. Just a few points I want to hit real quick. I kind of wrote this down. Um, because we already touched on it a little bit earlier. It's funny. One thing I talked about coming in this game, I was like, "Hey, Bowens is the explosive running back. He likes to run to the left side." And guess what? The play that put it away, that 34-yard rush that put Georgia up at the end of the game, was to the left side by Bowens, in a big explosive
Wow.
play. So it's kind of ridiculous. But that kind of bit us in the ass, and we called it out, EJ, on the pod last week. That's why you need to watch SwampCast. They converted when they needed to. One thing that was very interesting, and on that third down on that last drive before the Bowens run, they converted on a 3rd and 8, I believe is what it was, EJ. And what they did is they somehow got Zachariah Branch on Miles Graham. I love Miles Graham. He's a great linebacker. He struggles in coverage pretty bad. And we saw that. That's just you got to give props to Bobo. You know what I mean? I know not a lot of Georgia fans like the guy. He's not the best in the world. But he did a really good job getting the matchups he wanted in this game, and that was a big one, man. He caught us in man-to-man formation. I believe it was just cover 2 man, we had Miles Graham on Zachariah Branch, and so it's frustrating, but that's just good scheming, I would say, by Mike Bobo, there with this Georgia offense. So yeah, that's just kind of a couple points I want to say. But I'm proud of the Stevens. They did a really good job. We got lucky a few times. But once they got into our side of the field, our half of the field, they did a pretty good job in stopping them.
Yeah, and just to say on the defense, Ron Roberts is a decent defensive coordinator. I think he's a really good defensive coordinator. It's interesting though, the first drive of the game for teams are typically their most successful against us. Either the first drive of the first half or the first drive of the second half. We play a very vanilla base defense to see what their game plan is, and then we come out with the adjustments in the second drive. It's exactly what happened in this game. Georgia goes quickly down the field, opening drive, score a touchdown. Then they don't really score again until the fumble that should have been a fumble, and they kicked the field goal late in the first half. That was their only points in the first half, even though they ran 20 more plays in the first half than we did. I also think defensively, Zachariah Branch, who we talked about in the preview, he has 10 catches, 112 yards, and they're moving him all around. And I'm sitting there like, why aren't we tagging him? Like, what kind of zone defense is this where they can just move him into the slot against Miles Graham? I'm like, okay, Miles Graham's a great linebacker, but when you're covering Georgia's most dynamic receiver, there's not too many linebackers that are going to win that matchup. So I don't understand why we didn't make an adjustment. Just put Devin Moore. Just say, Devin Moore, hey, this is your guy. Run around, defend him wherever the hell he goes. I don't understand why we didn't do that. Or blanket him, double team him, give Stockton something else to think about. We didn't do that. The other part of the game that I will say didn't work is the aggressiveness. I love the blitz of Castell. That was an incredible play. Georgia converted 26 first downs in this game to our 12. And they had 32 minutes time of possession, which isn't a lot, but in a game like this, those extra 5 or 6 minutes that you have the ball means everything. And other than that, you had Dylan Bell with 4 catches, 43 yards. He was okay, nothing too crazy. And then Gunnar Stockton again, he added 11 yards rushing in the game. I think the reality is we had a sack on him a couple of times, and he's able to just step up and run up the middle or run to the outside. We got 0 sacks technically on him, even though we did tackle him. He crossed the line, so it was a rush instead of a sack. And his QBR was 71. DJ Lagways was 54. So better quarterback play and a defense that holds the other team to 281 yards or less than their average. is how you win the game. Better quarterback play, better overall defense, scoring and conversion wise. And that's what Georgia brought to the table. That's why they won the game. And moving forward, that's what we're gonna have to do to win games. We got to have the better quarterback. And I feel pretty good in the last few games that our defense will probably, if we're healthy, will probably be the best defense on the field. So it'll come back down to, is DJ Lagway the better quarterback in these last 4 games, which will be fascinating to see.
And pretty challenging with some of the ones that we are going to be facing. Just a couple of chats before we get into the Kentucky matchup. Abrams did drop that one slant on that third down too. That was definitely rough. You got to catch that.
Well, but the receivers are all hurt, so
Yep.
he's out there.
The last play had a blitzer in his face. It was a hot route throw. Abrams was not even looking until the ball was thrown. Now the pass to Hawkins, he overthrew. Yeah, that was a problem, dude. That was terrible. But yeah, no, that I totally get your point, but that's once again a timing issue. DJ Lagway has to have the receiver staring at him for 3 seconds before he throws the ball. Even though the receiver wasn't looking, you could still throw that ball. You can still have that ball in the air. You see that all the time in the NFL, in high level football. So yeah, I don't think there's any excuse there. I think you have to throw that ball to TJ. Personally. This is not the offense for DJ. No, I agree. It's not the greatest offense for DJ, and he did look a little more comfortable at certain points with it being a spread. I totally understand. And I agree there. Defense would not come out of too high, so it's easy for offenses to cause matchup issues. Yeah, no, that's the reason I don't want to keep Ron Roberts next year, is because he's just so dead set in his ways. He has that one blitz a game, which, hey, worked, but still. We need to play man press, backup, safeties, slants are killing us. We're going to get into that because that's what Kentucky loves to do, is quick passes. So let's get into that. That's our Georgia wrap up there, man. I mean, definitely sucks. A lot of promise, a lot of inconsistencies, but I think it's pretty evident that Billy Napier was holding this offense back. I think it's kind of proved it. We saw a lot of great things from the boys in this game. All right, let's go ahead and get into this Kentucky matchup, EJ. Why not? This Saturday, the Florida Gators are going to be traveling to Lexington, Kroger Field. God, I hate that place. I think it's a 7:30 kickoff, so it's going to be a night game in Kentucky. It's probably going to be cold as hell. That's not going to be fun. Kentucky, Florida's actually favored by 3.5, and Kentucky is 3-5, 13th in the SEC, coming off of a really nice win against Auburn. I think 10-3. That was a wild game.
Is Hugh Freeze still employed after this Kentucky debacle?
Bro, he was I don't even know what was going on. He had just kept mix matching his quarterbacks. He would throw out Arnold, throw in that young guy. It was back and forth. He didn't know what he wanted. I think he was just trying anything. And that Kentucky defense was just having an absolute ball back there. It was wild. They couldn't do anything on offense. Auburn couldn't. But Kentucky, nothing new. It's a typical Stoops Kentucky team. Not very aggressive. They want to keep the ball. They want to win time of possession. They're not super explosive on offense, and they definitely aren't, because this year they have Cutter Boley now leading the charge at the quarterback position. They had Calzada starting earlier on in the year, but he was absolute trash. So they took him out, brought in Cutter. Cutter, he's a guy who does not like to push the ball down the field. He throws 10 yards or less 65% of the time. He had a really good game against Tennessee, but a lot of that did come from the fact that his playmakers on the outside, like Kendrick Law, are catching these quick screens, these quick slants, these quick throws, these quick hitches, and they're just, it's the yards after catch. You know what I mean? The yak yards are pretty unbelievable for this team. He, like I said, does not like to throw the ball down the field too much. Whenever he does, he throws interceptions. I might have it pulled up for you guys. Let me see if I can pull up his passing grade here. I definitely can. Just give me 1 second while I do this. Passing depth. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to pull this up for you guys on your screen. Boom. 1 second. There you guys go. So this is Cutter's passing depth here, as you guys can see. Look at this, the middle of the field with 10 yards and below. 33 of 44, which is like short center. And then behind the line of scrimmage center, he's 31 of 31. So that's where all of the pass plays are going. He also doesn't mind in the kind of the middle center of the field from 10 to 20 yards. He's 11-15 there, 1 touchdown. But so you have those 2 interceptions, and you also have the other 2 interceptions to the right center of the field, and then deep he has a couple picks there as well. Cutter does. So he's a young guy. Like I said, he's a freshman. He's going to make mistakes. He has gotten better from game to game, I would say, and has improved throughout the season. But a guy who is going to definitely make mistakes whenever he's not going to be throwing those quick passes. Now, one thing about him, too, is he is horrendous under pressure. You don't even have to blitz. A lot of teams have been getting pressure on him throughout the season. I think they have 17 sacks on him already this year, if I'm not mistaken. Wow. So a lot of teams have been, 17 sacks already. So a lot of teams have been getting to Bully, and that's kind of crazy considering the fact that they throw so fast. He holds the ball onto the ball for 2.8 seconds on average, I believe is what PFF was saying. But you can easily get to Bully here. So I think our guys will have a field day with Gums on the outside, and hopefully Jaden Woods will finally kind of emerge after kind of having a nice spark early on in the season. But I think that's kind of a key there. They have two really good running backs in McGowan and Dowdle, the transfer from Nebraska. He made me lose a parlay last season. That's why I know who he is. Dowdle is a nice guy, more of a power dude, but McGowan is definitely a nice explosive guy to have there. They try to get them play in the receiving game as well, so keep an eye out for that. But overall, an offense who is, once again, not very, very explosive, but they do have playmakers on the outside. They like to get their guys in space. Their run blocking is not great. Talking about Kentucky. Let's see if I can get this. Yep, I have it pulled up for you right here. There we go. As you guys can see, their run block is not great. With a 59.4 or sorry, 56.6 on PFF. So what they like to do is they like to throw out to the outside to kind of use the quick pass game as a run game, and then like to spread everyone out and then run up the middle when they have the numbers. So that's just something to keep an eye on. So it is actually pretty creative offense from what we've seen in the past with Kentucky, but not really a threat down the field. Even though, there are times where they do, when Boldy does get some time and does like to take those shots every now and then, but it's not really a big issue. So that's kind of the offense. Defensively, you have Alex Afari Jr., really good linebacker. He's kind of their CJ Allen that we had to deal with this past week. Great gap defender and pass rusher. They also have a really good pass rusher, and I think his name's Stoven Souls Jr. He has 3.5 sacks on the year, so watch out for him. Now, the pass coverage is not great for this linebacker group, so that's just something we can kind of take advantage of there if we do want to get certain matchups that we like. Their outside run has definitely been susceptible, so I would say kind of run outside the tackles this game. I think that's probably the smartest thing to do there. I'm glad Napier's not coaching the game because freshmen usually kill us. Yeah, there you go. So I think that's probably the smartest thing to do is to get the ball to the outside, get Jaden Ball in space, get your playmakers in space. I think you'll be able to make something happen. This defense, though, really interesting this year. EJ, usually they're not big on letting up explosive plays under Stoops. They have been susceptible in the secondary at certain points of the year. So if you can get some time, because their pass rush has been, the pressure has been really solid. If you can get some time for DJ Lagway, I think you'll be able to find some kind of holes in their defense. Their rush defense is really good, but like I said, that's, if you get it to the outside, you should be good. So that's kind of my quick ramble on a DJ. I'll go ahead and pass the baton.
Yeah. What makes, I think, me lose some confidence in this game is the receiver situation, because I think fully healthy, both of these teams, I think Florida has a clear talent advantage, particularly if you don't have Billy Napier boneheaded play calls. I also think this game is going to absolutely 100% come down to coaching. Mark Stoops is very similar to a Ron Roberts coaching style in that he designs his plays and the formations on defense, the offensive identity to reduce risk of either turning the ball over, reduce your opportunity to score big points, and try to keep his team in it so that at late in the game, they can make a play and win the game. Which is exactly what they do. And they know that given you're more talented, you're more likely to call riskier plays that are more conducive to potential turnovers. And then Kentucky can lurk around and pounce and end up defeating you. That has been our curse against them. I remember in the swamp, they came down and I think it was Dan Mullins. Was that Dan Mullins' first year? I think it was.
Yes.
They came down to the swamp and beat us because we were running some risky plays with Anthony Richardson. And what happened? They stripped the ball out of his hand and ran it back for a touch. They just wait for you to make a mistake. To beat Kentucky, you have to take the lead on them and force their offense to take risks. That is how you blow them out. Look at what Tennessee did. Now, Tennessee ended up giving up 30, 26, or 30 points or whatever. But that's because Tennessee's defense isn't really as great as it has been. And Tennessee just pretty much figured, hey, they can't outscore us. We're going to put the pressure on them and see what they can. Hey, we're going to score 50 points on y'all. Can you score 51? Didn't think so. I'm not going to say we're going to score 50 points on Kentucky, but the approach needs to be, how do we play disciplined offensive football? How do we allow Lagway to take what the defense gives him? And how do we empower him to throw passes on time and on target? We were lucky in this Georgia game in that we had 0 turnovers. This Kentucky team is going to feast off of any mistake that we make, whether it's a special teams punt block, a special teams punt return, a an interception thrown by Lagway that they can run down and milk the clock with Boley. Um, this is going to be an ugly game. We've got to be able to play mistake-free, clean football, which is what I think we're going to be able to do with Billy G as the coach. When you look at this Kentucky team, the keys to our victory in this game are going to be third down conversions. If we go up to Lexington in 51 degrees, which is going to be 50 degrees, it's going to be cold. I actually like the cold. Florida Gators, we've been biologically engineered to, we're cold-blooded. Okay? We can make our heart rate go to 0 in the cold. Okay? So we need to be able to do that going on the road. You cannot go to Lexington 1 of 13 on third downs, 0 of 14 on third downs, and expect to win this game. We have got to convert 40% third downs at least. What is that? That's 4 out of 10. Can we get 4 out of 10 third downs? Can we get 6 out of, what is that? 6 out of 13, 6 out of 14? Can we get 40% conversions? If we do not convert third downs in this game, we will lose. Period. You have to keep moving the ball into scoring position, putting pressure on the Kentucky offense. When there's no pressure on the Kentucky offense, Kentucky will beat you. You got to protect DJ Lagway. Kentucky is going to do what all these other teams have done. They're not superior talented this year on the defensive side. They don't have those typical seniors on defensive line that can get out there and get the sacks. So what do? They play bend but don't break, solid coach defense. They're going to stack the line of scrimmage. They're going to take away short routes. And they're going to say, hey, DJ, if you can throw an accurate pass deep down the field on time and on target, hey, we'll see if you prove it. And then we'll adjust. But we're not giving you running. We're not giving you short passes. We're not giving you any of that. You have to beat us over the top. Last year, he did that. And then what happened? Kentucky, you got blown out. And then Cormani hit you with the pick 6. Then it was stick a fork in them. That is their game plan. Mark Stoops is a very smart coach. Expect 9, 10 guys within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Can DJ Lagway hit a deep pass? Why Kentucky's going to do that even more? Vernell Brown's probably not going to play. Dallas Wilson's probably not going to play. Mizell, who knows? He's always hurt. He's probably not going to play. So, what are your options to go deep? So, that's going to be Mark Stoops' game plan. Can you hit some deep passes and convert on third down? Um, Running the football is going to be important in this game. It's going to be difficult to do because of Kentucky's approach defensively in this game. I go back and look at this Auburn game. Auburn's a decent running team. They ran it 40 times, 3 yards a carry against Kentucky because Kentucky knew, okay, this Daniels guy can't throw. He's not accurate. So let's stop that run, see if he can beat us. 13 to 18, one pick, 3 yards a carry. So are you elite DJ Lagway or are you not? That is what this game is going to tell us. Are you better than Boley? Our defense is better than Kentucky's defense. Is DJ Lagway better than Cutter Boley? If the answer is yes, we win. If the answer is, I don't know, he's throwing interceptions, he's throwing the ball late. If you throw the ball late against Kentucky, Georgia, okay, Kentucky will pick it off. I'm telling you right now. That is their whole, we have to at least turn them over to stay in the game. You have to throw the ball on time, on target, make decisions. Those are the 3 game plans. Convert on third downs. DJ Lagway, are you better than Boley? And then defensively, I think by default, I think we stay in the game with our defense because I do think that we are going to be able to stop Kentucky's offense. I think we're going to be able to force them to punt the ball several times. The question is, can our defense take the game over, get turnovers, and give us the ball in plus territory, and then effectively out Kentucky? That's another pathway to win. But to what you just said, Ron Roberts is not a very aggressive defensive coordinator. So he's going to say, okay, let's just let Kentucky melt down, as opposed to, no, let's force Kentucky to make mistakes. Now, if we had an elite quarterback, Heisman level performer, our defense would be perfect, right? But because our offense is so mid-tier, it's almost like you want the defense to try to do more because we have to create situations and more opportunities for the offense to score. So, long story short, Kentucky is going to stay in this game if we are not able to convert third downs and go deep. If we're able to do that, I feel really good about our game. I would feel even better if we got a Wednesday report that said Vernell Brown or at least one of these 4 receivers are playing. Other than that, I'm fascinated to see what the game plan is because Kentucky is going to go after Wilson, Eugene Wilson, and make sure that he's bottled up. And then it's like, who else? Abrams, you can't catch apparently. So is somebody else going to catch the ball when we actually throw a good pass? Who knows?
100%. I don't know. Do you know the Dallas Wilson injury? Did he re-injure that? Was his ankle, right?
It was a foot injury. It
Yeah.
looked like it was the same one. No news has been released, but he didn't look when he came out of the game. He was like in street clothes, so
Yeah.
not looking good.
Well, I agree. If we can have some more, weapons on the outside, I feel very confident because here's what I see. I see us struggling running the ball a little bit, like you were talking about, EJ. And if we struggle running the ball, I don't know how it's going to go. Now, Ryan O'Hara, from what I saw, loves to pass, which is awesome. I love that. Like, he does it. It's not like Billy Napier where you have all these really, really well done and well mapped out zone run plays. That's one thing that Billy Napier was really, really good at, and I don't think no one can deny is his run game and his run formations and his plays were phenomenal. It's just he drew his route trees with crayons. So now that that's gone, we might see a little bit of a dip in the run game. I'm a little worried about that, EJ. I think that's gonna and I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to expand on? Because this is kind of a good transition into my my score prediction here.
With the O'Hara throwing the ball, he spread the defense. He at least spreads the defense out to give your offense a chance. One thing that he integrated in this game was the QB sneak up the middle, which I saw. But I was like, if DJ Flacco actually runs this up the middle, he's got a lane, and he did it both times. And I was like, wow, we actually called a play that was based on matchups and advantage. Like Billy Napier never did that. And maybe it's because he's healthy. I don't know. But, we'll see. But those were really good play calls, and those were designed quarterback runs from the offensive coordinator. If we can spread Kentucky's defense out and force them to, spread the defense and then see if we can get one-on-one matchups in the run game, we probably have a better chance at running it. But that means one-on-one matchups with blocking to, give Ball a chance to run that ball. And if you look at these PFF ratings for the Kentucky defense really quick, it's looking like they're all a very disciplined defense.
They're really good.
Green, Saunders, Gusta, Humphrey up front, their gap sound, and the linebackers are really good. So that just means Kentucky is always in the right place at the right time. These PFF metrics means what percentage of the time are you winning your play based on your matchup against whoever you're playing against. And if you're 77%, you're winning a vast majority of snaps based on your, so it's going to be tough. And Stoops, I learned this from Stoops, his brother Bob, back in the day, 90s. How was his Florida defense so good in the 90s? It was, we got to stop the run with the front four. If you can stop the run with the front four, it's going to be a tough sledding for the other team's offense. And his brother has kind of brought that mentality. And so can we run it against these guys? I don't know. Jones on this right tackle is looking pretty putrid, and so is Hayden Hansen.
Yeah.
Over here.
Yeah. No. Yeah, Caden Jones, man. Yeah, just not great. Then you got Harris too. I mean, George. Yeah, no, that's what I'm worried about too. Is being able to run it, because you go back to Tennessee game, right? Tennessee game's a great example. Tennessee spread the ball out literally the most out of any other. When they mean spread the ball, they mean go sideline to sideline. They were able to find some run game there doing that. Now they also did get stuffed a few times. So big question is we're gonna have to, hopefully Jayden Ball will be 100%. I know he got banged up a little bit in that Georgia game. He came back out, played good. But hopefully he's 100% when we go into Lexington this Saturday. Excuse me. So we definitely need him to play his best game. And like you said, spread out and take advantage of it, and just try to go. That's why I say, one thing that we never see either, that we saw this past week, was us attacking the edges, was us attacking the outside on run plays. And I thought we found some nice success with that. So I want to see a little bit more of that in this game. If we do that, I'm pretty confident. But we'll see, man. Ball got 5 touchdowns last year. I remember that was his 5 touchdown game. I predict 3 this year, and VB3 will be back next year. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about 3, man. That's what I'm worried about. And we can get into that here in a second, make our predictions. Did you guys see the Trey crying on the sideline, tired of losing, first time seeing any kind of emotion this year? Yeah, man, because he had a great game. He had his career game, yeah. And he still couldn't, they still couldn't get it done. So a lot of emotions there for sure. All right, EJ, you want to make the score prediction here?
So when I'm looking at this game, guys, player for player, pound for pound, even with the receiver injuries, with the receivers, I'm very confident in picking Florida. Without, it's very challenging, because when you go back and you look at Kentucky's last 2 games, they play Tennessee. Tennessee's defense is not – our defense is materially better than Tennessee's.
Tennessee had two DBs out, too, 2 of the starting DBs.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go. And then, Kentucky is able to rack up, 400, almost 500 yards on them. A lot of that in mop-up duty, because Tennessee, to your point, had, but anyway, the next game against Auburn, they 240, or is it 240 yards they got? It was a ugly defensive game, 240 yards. Now, our defense is Auburn level. Florida and Auburn's defense are pretty even, which is why we're pretty much the same record. Um, the difference is our offense has been a little bit better than Auburn's throughout the year. We've been a little bit more consistent. We've been able to create big plays. We have not had to just throw caution, throw things up at the board to see what works. With that said, um, if you're going to take our game plan, which is going to be spreading Kentucky's out defense out and seeing if you can get matchups with Jaden Ball running the ball. I hate that Jacoby Jackson is still out. Like, I don't know what the deal is. Maybe we'll get an update. I don't know, but having a decent spell to uh 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 to Jaden Ball is a huge disadvantage for us. Now, I will say, our backup, I think did a pretty
KD.
good job. I think it
Yeah.
6 carries for 20 yards. It's not terrible. But that's it. The other way that I think we win is if we can force Boley into some interceptions. He's pretty much been DJ Lagway minus the LSU game. Like he hasn't had a 5 interception game, but he has thrown picks in pretty much every game he's played in. And I don't think Kentucky is going to try to win this game with their offense. I think they're going to try to win the game with their defense.
Mm.
And this is going to be a game where we can outgain them by 150 yards and still lose. So, with all that said, I think defensively, we have a really good game plan. We hold Kentucky to 17 points. And I think offensively, we're able to score. It's going to be 20-17 late. We're going to kick the field goal instead of go for it, go up 23-17, and we're going to hold Kentucky on their last drive to try to win the game. So I'm going to go Florida 23-17. I think we cover. We win a close game, but if you're watching this game and we turn it over and, it's going back and forth, it's a 50-50 game at that point. Give me Florida to win it ugly, close, 23-17 in Lexington. We drink their bourbon and we eat their Kentucky Fried Chicken.
There you go. I like it. I like it. I'm 23-10 Florida. So we were right there on each other, man. I like it.
Okay,
I
all
like
right.
it. I think yeah, I'm worried about the run game, man. I'm worried about the run game struggling a little bit early on. It's going to be a cold night game in Lexington, man. This is almost, I think Kenny said it earlier, or Rob, this is kind of a must win for Stoops here. His record is absolute. I think
Oh
that the
yeah, this is a must win for Stoops. Yeah.
he got the win yesterday against Auburn, so that was really nice. But because his back will really be against the wall. But he needs this is a winnable game for him for sure. A head coachless UF team. Coming into a cold night in Kroger Field. This never goes good. Kentucky's always kind of been that kryptonite for Florida, since 2018. So I am a little bit worried about this one. I do think that it is. We're probably maybe even down at halftime. I think we might shut them out in second half, but I think we find an explosive play. I think Ryan O'Hara chalks something up and gets us up. I think it's definitely, like you said, a field goal game for the Gators. That's why we have 23 points. I think that we're gonna have a couple of turnovers on defense, at least one. I think that's gonna help us get in and give us good field position, like we did against Georgia, and lead to a few field goals. My offensive key to this game: no turnovers. I cannot have any turnovers. If we have a turnover, then that 23-10 is gonna maybe go down to 13-10. It's gonna be rough. Defensive key: hold them to 2 explosive plays or less, of 20 plus yards. If we can do that, I feel pretty confident that we can hold them to 10 points, and I believe that we will. So there's my prediction, man. 23-10. EJ's 23-17.
23-17.
All right, let's see what happens, man. It's going to be a scary one there in Kroger Field. All right, EJ, I know you got to go sometime soon, man. So let's just kind of run through these this week 11 slate here,
Well,
man.
well, Kenny just broke the
Oh,
news that Auburn just fired Hugh Freeze.
Oh,
So
actually fired him? Like, oh,
yeah,
shit.
that was highly anticipated after this loss to Kentucky. So it is a crazy. It's dude, guys, Kenny, Rob, they're on our chat right now. What? This is more indicative of what I was saying. Talent is less important now because it's going to be evenly distributed based on NIL, and everyone's got the money to pay people. So it's talent is more and more evenly distributed. It's going to come down to who's got the better coach and who's coached better. And we're going to have 20 jobs open. And these aren't usually like it's Florida and like UCLA, so it's like big major jobs open a year. There are like 10 jobs that are legit jobs that are open right now. It is crazy. Auburn, Arkansas, Florida, LSU. Hell, Missouri may be open because he may quit and go somewhere else. So this is just insane. But anyway, yeah, let's do these picks.
No,
What do
yeah,
you think about that?
that is unreal, man. 22 million, I think, is the buyout. Yeah, that's unreal, man. I agree. Now we should have fired Napier last year. That was the year to fire him. We all were calling for him, and then he just had that little run there late because of DJ Lagway. But yeah, I have the thing up on the screen right now for you guys, man. That is unbelievable, man. Unreal. Yeah, I don't know who the hell we're gonna get. Honestly, I don't know anymore, man. We'll see. We'll see. We could definitely next week do another segment on who we think's gonna leave and little coaching updates. So unreal, EJ. All right, let's dive into this week 11 slate. We're gonna be starting it out. Let me go back to this. Boom. There we go. Week 11 slate, man. We're gonna start off with Florida State at Clemson. Clemson favored by 2.5.
Ooh. Okay, so I feel like we need to alternate who goes first because I feel like you hosed me last year by just like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just gonna pick the opposite.
I have.
Okay, so I'll.
Go
You want
ahead.
me to go first on this one?
You
I'll
go
go
first.
first on this one.
All
Okay,
right.
I'll
All
go
right.
first on this one. All right, all right. This is going to be an interesting game because these are the two historically elite, most ACC champs. And both teams are reeling. Even though Florida State had a dominating performance against Wake Forest, which was very surprising, and Clemson wet the bed against Duke. Did you pick Duke? You had to pick Duke.
Yeah. I did. Which
See, how the hell?
Which Duke should have lost that game, by the way. That was an insane flag late. Clemson got screwed out of that. But I did pick Duke.
Yeah, Kenny and Rob are saying Stoops from Kentucky's next, and then Dabo. Yeah,
That's true. Jesus, dude.
And both of these coaches, Florida, Norvell and Dabo, these two guys could be fired. So anyway, it's in Death Valley. Florida State on the road has not been great, although Clemson's defense has been absolutely trash. 560 total yards and 46 points given up to Duke. Like, what the heck is that? That is not great defense. Clay Klubnik has not been great. So I am going to go with the upset in this one. I'm going to go FSU finding a way to win this one 27-24. And Dabo on the hot seat, my friend.
I respect it. I'm going to go with Clemson here, though. I think Clemson's going to get the win. Clemson, I think, this is going to be an offensive game for sure. Florida State struggled. I know the final score looked crazy for Wake Forest, but they did struggle in that first half a little bit. I don't know. I think Florida State. Also, you look at Clemson, like, are they really going to lose another one at home? I don't think so, man. I don't think they're going to lose another one at home, and for that reason, you're like, yeah, they are. And for that reason, I'm picking Clemson. I just don't think they can lose another one at home like that. Next one, we have Navy at Notre Dame. Notre Dame favored by 24.5. We're picking the spread here against the Navy. This is a really good Navy team. This is a Navy team that, yeah, they had a pretty bad loss against North Texas this past week. North Texas, though, one of the best offenses in the country. I think the highest scoring offense in the country. I really, really like Navy. I think they're a time possession game or a possession, whatever it is. My brain's just not working right now. Type of team. I think Notre Dame struggled a little bit this year because of that. I'm picking Navy to actually cover the 24.5.
Yeah, I'm with you, my friend. I think Notre Dame defense is going to shut them down, and Notre Dame offense is going to be way too much. Give me Notre Dame big cover,
Oh,
easy cover.
you're picking Notre Dame cover. I'm going Navy, but I respect it. Next one we have we're already two opposite of each other, EJ. It's gonna be another one of those weeks.
No,
Next
see,
one
see,
we
you, no, you better not beat me this time.
Next we have Indiana favored by 13.5 at Penn State. We're gonna pick the spread here. I'll go again first here. I'm picking Indiana, man. Look, this is a trap game if there ever is one for Indiana. Penn State has lost a lot of close games. They obviously got destroyed by Ohio State yesterday, this past Saturday. But I mean, look, I can't pick against Kurt Signetti. I just can't. They had a dominating performance against Maryland, which is a good football team. And because of that reason, I'm picking Indiana. But it would not surprise me if Penn State does keep it close.
This is crazy. How the hell is Indiana beating everybody like vintage Urban Meyer? Like this is crazy. But they are beating the hell out of teams. I'm gonna go Indiana to cover as well. And it's a 14-point spread. I just think they are playing too well. Everything goes their way. They make the right decisions. They throw the ball on time on target. They hit the third down conversions. They're just too top tier in every category. And Penn State is not. And I don't think Penn State's modest talent advantage. And then Indiana's lucky because they're healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So give me Hoosiers. Who's your daddy?
I like it.
Signetti.
There you go. Next one we have Iowa State at TCU. TCU favored by 5.5.
So Iowa State is one of those teams that always screws me. No matter if I pick them to win, they lose. If I pick them to lose, they win. It's just the craziest situation. Iowa State has had a little bit of a collapse here lately. So I'm gonna go with TCU at home. I really like Hoover Dam at quarterback here. 296 yards a game, 22 touch, 6 interceptions, and I like Barnes running that ball. TCU cover, but close, one touchdown.
Everything that you just said, I'm in total agreement with. I think Iowa State now 4-loss streak. They started out I think 5-0, and then now they're 5-4. I'm gonna stay with. I think it's gonna be their 5th loss against TCU. Next one we have Nebraska at UCLA. UCLA favored by 2.5.
Ooh, okay. Wait, you go first. Hey, you
right,
gotta go first this time.
Gotcha.
Hey.
Yeah. I tried. I mean, look, man. Raiola,
You just stared at me. You just
like, hey, bro, you go
like,
for it.
yeah,
You know
you gonna go? You gonna pick?
Raiola obviously got injured in that USC game. Looked like a foot injury, ankle injury. I don't think he's gonna be back for this one. I'm not a fan of the Nebraska backup. Now they do have that really good run game there, which I think that they might be able to take advantage of. But I don't know, man. I think because of that, they got to travel to UCLA, man. I'm going with the Bruins in this one, or not the Bruins. Sorry, I'm going UCLA in this one. I think they're gonna. I think they'll get the win.
Dang. Yeah, this is a tough one. I do think Nebraska overall is the better team, but playing on the road, um, I think is going to be difficult going from the cornfield to the LA, Beverly Hills. Um, yeah, give me UCLA. Give me, even though I do think UCLA is pretty much like giving it up after getting absolutely destroyed by Indiana. Give me UCLA. Wait, are we picking the spread on this one?
Nope.
All right, give me UCLA 28-24. Very close game.
There you go. Next one we have Tulane at Memphis. Memphis favored by 7.5.
Ooh, okay. So this is a very close game. Uh, Memphis, I think, you know, I didn't think that they should have beaten USF. USF they screwed themselves in that game. But Tulane, they've won 3 games since losing to Ole Miss. That have been, fairly impressive games. Tulsa, East Carolina, Army. Retzlaff at the quarterback position is, pretty decent. They beat Duke. earlier this year, which is incredible. But I'm going to go with Memphis in this game, 31-27. I don't think they cover, but I think Memphis just overall is going to be able to end up with more points. I just think they have more scoring options.
I agree, man. I think Tulane's gotten away with too many close games this year. I think Memphis, on the other hand, yeah, the USF one was an interesting one, but I do like this Memphis team a lot. I think that they have things rolling here, so I'm going to pick Memphis and go there as well. Next one we have Texas A&M favored by 5.5 at Missouri. Look, this is A&M's third away game in a row. They're going to the drinks of Mizzou, the Tigers out there. Look, I mean, there's been so many times this year where I'm like A&M's going to struggle in this game, and they just somehow don't. So for that reason, I'm going to pick A&M to win this one, and I think they're going to win big.
So it's at Missouri, and I think both teams are coming off a bye, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yep.
Texas A&M, just again, you're seeing these teams that have the better coaches separate themselves. A&M does have a lot of talent, but they also are just very well coached by Elko. Why isn't Elko a candidate for some of these jobs? Because Texas A&M is a good job, and that's what Ole Miss fans need to understand. If your coach is always name is always thrown out there as a candidate, that means the school that he's currently at is not a top tier job. So it's common sense. When Urban Meyer is winning at Florida, if whoever's winning at Florida, their name is never brought up as, oh, this is another candidate. No. Why? Because Florida is a top job. So that's why no one is talking about Elko, even though I think Elko is low key one of the best coaches out there.
Yep.
And Drinkowitz is going to have a chance to see if he can outcoach Elko. I will say that given this game is on the road, it might give A&M a little something to think about. With that said, I'm going to go A&M in the game. I just think they have too many options, and I think their defense is too well balanced in being able to stop the run and defend on the back end pretty well. Even though in Missouri, I don't know, they can keep the game really close, but I'm going to go Texas A&M 34. I'll say 34-27. I think they still cover because they're going to win by a touchdown, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's closer, like 34-30, something crazy like that. Give me the Aggies.
I respect it. These next two games these are tough ones to pick, man. BYU at Texas Tech. Texas Tech favored by 9.5, EJ. We're going to pick the spread here.
All right. So, wait, is this at Texas Tech?
This is at Texas Tech.
Give me the Red Raiders.
To cover?
To cover. Yes.
An undefeated BYU team.
Yes.
Coming off of a bye.
Let me tell you something. BYU. Here's the stat. Pull this up. Game day. I think they're going to Lubbock. It's been announced. BYU 0-3 all time when on College game day. That's all you need to know. What does that mean? Red Raiders getting it done. 38-24. Red Raiders shootout.
Part of me really wants to go opposite of you. But
hey, look,
you know what I mean?
Do it.
I really, really want to. I have Texas Tech though. I mean, look, yeah, BYU had a bye, but BYU also has had some really close wins this year. Texas Tech, on the other hand, yeah, fumbled a little bit against Arizona State, right? Every other game though, they have dominated, man. Has had phenomenal wins. I gotta stick with Texas Tech here to cover. But man, I'm scared. Next one we have Oregon favored by 5.5 at Iowa. This game is gonna be phenomenal. Oregon struggled against Wisconsin. It was a 21-7 win, I think, that they had with the Badgers. It was a rainy game, weird game, you know what I mean? Stuff just was strange. Had no pass game, though, because of the rain, I'm assuming. That was probably a pretty big factor. Iowa's been playing crazy as of recent, man. They've had a few losses, but their quarterback they have bro is like a running back there. You cannot stop him on the run. I like him throwing the ball. He makes some mistakes. It's an Iowa defense. Can Oregon really push the ball on this Iowa defense? I don't know, man. We're not picking spread, so I'm going to pick Oregon to win. But it would not surprise me if Iowa just throws a wrench in this Big Ten race and beats Oregon.
So last week I screwed myself because I picked who I initially thought was going to win, and then I didn't just flip it. That's what you got to do. You got to, who do you think's going to win? Then pick the opposite. That's exactly what I'm doing in this game. Oregon should win. Hawkeyes get a ball bounce off a helmet, intercepted, ends up being a fumble. They recover it and run back for a touchdown. Iowa. Iowa gets it done. They win it 20. Wait, what's my score? 20, 25-22. Crazy game. Iowa upset Oregon.
All right, EJ. Those are 3 games that we have opposite of each other. And I'm 3 points away from tying it up with you in the all-time record. So hopefully we lock in and get that done, man. All right, well, that's going to be our Week 11 slate. EJ, I know you have to go soon. Did you want to touch on the basketball at all?
Oh, yeah. Real quick, guys. I am going to be headed to Las Vegas here in a few hours to watch the Florida Gators and the Arizona Wildcats. This is a huge game, I think, for Florida Gators basketball because obviously we're defending national champs and we're playing a highly ranked team to start the season. Arizona is ranked number 13. Florida is ranked number 3. Florida, if you think we're going back to back, now's a good time to put some money in because I put money in when we were 3,600. We're 1,700 now, which is 6th best. So if you bet $100 that we're going to go back to back, you can win $1,700. So
Damn.
why don't you go ahead and do that if you're interested in picking the Gators to win it all? Both of these coaches, Tommy Lloyd and Todd Golden, know each other very well. They both came from the West Coast Conference. With that philosophy of have lots of big, tall players with a couple of good guards and see what you can do. This will be an interesting game to see how Boogie Fland and Professor X, Xavier Lee, replace our, All-American Walter Clayton and then, Elijah Martin and Will Richard. It'll be interesting to see how that happens. It's going to be a fascinating game. Can we play good interior defense? Can we out-rebound Arizona, which is one of our strengths, in the Todd Golden era is rebounding. Rebounding is just like third down conversions in football, in my opinion. It's like you get possessions, right? You can keep the ball. And when you keep the ball, you have a chance to score. And rebounding is even more important because usually when you rebound the ball, you're in position to score, at least 50% of the time on a putback. So let's see if we can do that. All in all, I'm thinking that we should win the game, but we have both teams are coming in this game like we have no clue. Based on the exhibition games and the preseason action, it looks like Florida is probably a little bit better. But Alex Condon. Oh, here's another interesting stat for everybody. Who is the highest paid NIL player at the University of Florida? A lot of people think it's DJ Lagway, but it's actually Alex Condon, the center from the Florida Gators. He's a potential first-round draft pick. We really love Thomas Houck. We think he's going to be more like a LeBron-style 3 this year. Ruben Chinyelu in the paint. We think his offense is going to be a little bit more where it needs to be. Micah Hanlockton down there. Boogie Fran and Xavier Lee, obviously. And then CJ Ingram, son of Cornelius Ingram, the famous Florida Gator tight end. Coming in, he's extremely athletic. Can't wait to see him. Urban Klavjar, the European, sharpshooter. Let's see what he can do. Hey, if we can win this game, guys, put the $100 down immediately so you can get that 1,700 because I think we might go back to back. See y'all in Vegas.
All right, score prediction real quick before we go.
I'll go Gators 84-77. I think it's a tough, hard-fought game, and then we make a few free throws, and we're able to keep it going.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, well, there you guys go. Appreciate you guys watching the stream today. Always love chatting with all you guys, man. Big shout out to our two top chatters, man, Kenny Roberts and Rob Best. We appreciate y'all coming out every single week. Love y'all. Hopefully we get a dub this weekend, man. We need it. EJ, any last words?
Go Gators. Let's beat Kentucky.
Beat Kentucky, baby, and Arizona. Go Gators.